Roserade!
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 Roserade.
Roserade.
Roserade!
Roserade!
Roserade.
Roserade!
Roserade!
Roserade.
Roserade, that's how it's pronounced, stop calling it Roserade, is a grass poison type evolution of Roselia, introduced in the 4th generation. Now, how its stats might look, it has very predominant speed, special attack, and special defense stats. Despite how those stats might look, don't confuse that for how it's commonly used. Its common use is pretty different from how its stats are put together. And, unlike our last time contestant with Gengar, Roserade actually has a multitude of abilities for me to talk about. The first one, and arguably its most practical ability, being Natural Cure. Now, back in the days of Gen 5, I would outrightly say this is Roserade's best ability. Now it's kind of I mean, with Roserade being immune to spore-based attacks and already carrying immunity to poison, it's kind of just an ability. Now, note, I'm not knocking Roserade for that point. It's more of a knock against Natural Cure, as it's not as useful as it once used to be. It is Roserade's most practical overall ability, just not as useful as it once was. Now, moving on from most practical to worst, is Poison Point. Poison Point is pointless. You have no reason to ever run this. Poison Point is not worth running. Roserade has really poor defenses, and Poison by itself is not really that threatening of a status ailment to really worry about. Badly poisoning your opponent is so much better than standard poison. Don't run this. Ever. Not even as a joke. Just don't run it. Now, moving away from that, here we have Roserade's hidden ability, Technician, which I would say is its most situational ability. Technician on most Pokemon is very useful. On Roserade, it's very limited in use. It only has about 2 or 3 moves that really benefit from it, so I'd really say only run it under the best conditions. Overall, Roserade's abilities are meh. They're not bad abilities, they're just not useful on Roserade. Natural Cure and Technician are really good abilities by themselves, but on Roserade, they aren't really to their fullest potential. Technician especially because it's Roserade's hidden ability, making it even more situational as you don't have access to it through ability capsules. And then there's the just outrightly terrible ability Poison Point, which you should never run under any circumstance. But let's go away from abilities and get into the movesets now. Our first moveset here is a relatively common moveset for Roserade, running Black Sludge for your item with either the abilities Natural Cure or Technician. Running the moves Giga Drain, Toxic Spikes, Leech Seed, and Hidden Power Fire. When it comes to the EVs, you don't need to follow what I do here exactly, just find a nice balance for defensiveness, running either Bold, Calm, or a Modest Nature. Now, if you don't want to try to get Hidden Power Fire, because that might take you a while, you could try replacing that for Protect. Just beware you're going to be walled by Pokemon like Fortress, Scizor, and Ferrothorn. The second moveset here is one of my own personal liking, running Grassinium Z and Natural Cure for your ability. You only need attacks Giga Drain, Dazzling Gleam, Sludge Bomb, and Sleep Powder. Max out your special attack and speed with a Modest Nature. I personally prefer the Modest Nature because if you run Grassinium Z and Sleep Powder, you get a speed boost. It can turn Roserade into a pretty reliable sweeper, knocking out a Pokemon for at least a few turns. You could also try running Energy Ball instead of Giga Drain on the moveset. This moveset right here is a bulky Choice Specs Roserade, running either Natural Cure or Technician for its ability with either Energy Ball or Giga Drain, Sludge Bomb, Dazzling Gleam, and Hidden Power Fire. Max out your HP and special attack, and although I prefer going with a Bold Nature just to give it a slight bit more defense, you could also try it with Calm, or maybe in mode Modest if you want to go overkill with your special attack. Now here is a more traditional Choice Sweeper Roserade, running either a Choice Scarf or Choice Specs, depending on whether or not you prefer power or speed, with either Technician or Natural Cure for its ability. Now, before I continue on, I want to make note of Magical Leaf being here, because with Technician, Magical Leaf can hit just as hard as Energy Ball. I wouldn't really recommend it under any circumstance unless you're really paranoid about evasiveness boosting, but I just wanted to mention it as an option. so run it with either Magic Leaf, Energy Ball, or Giga Drain if you have Technician for your ability, with Sludge Bomb, Dazzling Gleam, and Hidden Power Fire. Max out your speed and special attack with either Modest or Timid Nature depending on your item. This here is a fun little idea I thought for a sunny day Roserade, running a Life Orb for its item and Natural Cure for its ability, knowing you move Solar Beam, Weather Ball, Sludge Bomb, and Dazzling Gleam. Run it with max special attack and speed and a Timid Nature. Now with Weather Ball, on sunny day, it becomes a base 100 Fire type move, which is stronger than Technician Hidden Power Fire. Not really the most practical Sun Sweeper, but it's at least an option I want to mention because I think it's a legitimately interesting choice to run. Well, yes, under almost any other circumstance, I would probably say use something like Victory Bell or Lilligant if you want a more consistent Sun Sweeper. If you want to have some fun or uniquity on a Sun team, you could run Roserade in this moveset. Now, this Roserade is a physical Roserade, and I want to be completely honest with you. Do not use this moveset in doubles, ever. Use it only in singles, and even then, only use it as like a joke. Anyway, run it with Grass EMZ and Natural Cure, or maybe Technician if you want to run one specific move on it, with Petal Blizzard, Poison Jab, Sword Stance, and Sleep Powder, running a Jolly Nature with max attack and speed. Basically, you try to knock out an opponent and then just set up Sword Stance. Again, not really that useful in anything other than, well, singles. You could also run with Technician and Bullet Seed, but again, only use this as a joke. Do not use this seriously, ever. Here we have another Spiker Roserade moveset, carrying Poison EMZ for its item, with Technician for its ability, running the attacks Venoshock, Toxic Spikes, Hidden Power Fire, and Synthesis. Again, just try to find a nice balance for your defensive EVs and you should be good. Run it with a Bold, Calm, or Modest Nature. Basically, you just try to use Z Toxic Spikes to get a defense boost, and then just try to work well with Venoshock and Hidden Power Fire. I prefer Technician for the ability because I don't find Natural Cure to be that useful for the ability. You could also try running it with Poison Point. That's like the only time I will ever recommend a Roserade with Poison Point. If you want to give your Z move to another Pokemon, you could also run this with Black Sludge instead of Poison EMZ and Protect instead of Synthesis. This here is an Assault Vest Roserade, running Technician for its ability. Give it Giga Drain, Sludge Bomb, Dazzling Gleam, and Hidden Power Fire. Try to get about 200 EVs into HP, max out special attack, and put the rest in the defense, with either a Bold or Modest Nature. The Assault Vest should make up for any lacking special defense, and Technician I find to be most useful whenever just running it with Hidden Power. And the last moveset here is a moveset for Roselia, involving the Eviolite, with the ability Natural Cure, running the attacks Giga Drain, Toxic Spikes, Synthesis, or Leech Seed, and Protect. Again, try to find a good balance of defensive EVs, and you should be good. Run it with a Bold, Calm, or Modest Nature. I should also mention, Roselia does not carry Technician for its hidden ability, unlike Roserade. It has Leaf Guard, which is not that good of a hidden ability. But that's not the only way to use Roserade, so here are a few random thoughts. Leaf Storm can be a nice alteration to your Grass type move if you want to pack a bit more power into your hits. Just beware, it also lowers Roserade's special attack, and Roserade doesn't really have a good way to recover from it. It can be a nice pair up with Natural Cure, as it can be used to get rid of Roserade's status ailments. If you're encountering trouble with Psychic types, you could try running Shadow Ball. Although I find it a bit niche, it can be useful, and a lot of people do recommend running Roserade with Shadow Ball because of that. Now, I would say run it over either Dazzling Gleam or Hidden Power if you don't have good luck with Hidden Power. Exosensory, a move that you can only really get through breeding Badoos. Exosensory is even more niche, only really useful for counteracting other poison types. Other than that, I wouldn't really recommend running it over a standard Psychic type. Although Hidden Power Fire is the most practical Hidden Power for Roserade, you could try running other types of Hidden Power for different types of coverage. Those being Hidden Power Ice, Rock, Water, Ground, and Fight. And finally, if you want to try to run a Roserade on a Rain Dance team, you could give it Weather Ball for a base 100 power Water type move. It's not specific enough to really quarantine a moveset around it, but it can be a good idea for running at least on the base level of it. And that's Roserade! Whether it be Sweeper or Spiker, it can come out to be a good Pokemon. I will admit, it's not the greatest grass type in the game. There are definitely grass types that can do its job better, but it can be a pretty fun choice to use. Anyway, I've been Z Dragon Warrior, and see you guys next time.